Good morning, everybody. Oh my goodness. Hi, Mike. How you doing?
Oh man, insane. Oh my gosh, I'm
Yeah,
so
well, you
happy.
are insane.
Oh, but it's a good thing. Life changing, we're just doing so much, Isabel, man. It's an honor and a privilege to just be around such amazing folks. See
Yeah,
see
we're
people
lucky.
rising, doing business, loving life. Man, that's what we're all about, man. Shameless
Yeah.
plug, but well deserved. Hounds of business, man. Unbelievable. Thank you for being a strong leader and a great supporter. Couldn't
No.
do it without you, my friend.
Well, ditto. It's I was telling Rob off stage, our guest today, that when I found the hounds, I found my tribe, and that's where I fit in, and that's where I belong, and this is where I thrive. This is where I thrive, and I'm really, really, really happy to be there and to support any way I can for any amount of time that you are going to let me. Without further ado, let's start this show, dude.
Let's do it.
Roll the intro, and then I'll introduce our guest.
Or if you're from the South and you're over 40, roll that beautiful bean footage. Hey, one hug for whoever can know that. Where Scott Raven knows what I'm roll that beautiful bean footage, Scott Raven.
Go ahead.
Business is no longer only about products and services. More than ever, it's about connection and community. Business is about people. And that's why I created these live events. Every week, join me in discovering one remarkable individual. No shop talk here. It's about who they are and not what they do. My name is Isabel Fortin, and welcome to People, Passion, and Purpose.
Guys, I'm so excited. I've met this guy, our guest today, my guest today, Rob. I met this guy in the summer, and I have a huge professional crush on this guy. And it was first DM I had a crush on this guy. He is funny, but effective and kind and sweet. And I already love him. Guys, welcome my friend Rob. Hi, Rob.
Hey Isabel, wow, I'm blushing. Thank you so much for the kind word.
Hey, you've made my day. I made you blush. I can now go back to sleep. Oh no, I got tons to do. But hey, oh Scott, hi Scott. I'm you know this. I've said that in your face. I've said that behind your back too. You're so positive and fun to be around and fun to work with. That I mean, you're an inspiration for me. Seriously, you're an inspiration. You came into my life where I was finding no joy in the journey that I was on my in the professional journey that I was on, because I don't know, somehow in 2023 I forgot the funny, I misplaced the funny somewhere, and you waltzed in, and Mike from the Hounds waltzed in, and a whole bunch of people waltzed in and just started showing me that having fun inside our work is not only possible, it is important. And you are the incarnation of that for me. And I really wanted to tell you that in public.
Sounds like you've really found a community of people that bring out the best part of you, Isabel.
Yes, I sure did. So, guys, it's the same format as usual. We're going to have a great conversation with Rob today. So, Rob, without further ado, my first question is, who, dead or alive, has been the most influential person on you, and why?
I can't just give one answer, and you're going to get two, and I'm sorry I'm breaking the rules, but one person is dead and one person is alive.
That's okay. You
And
can break the rules.
thank you for allowing me to break the rules. The person who's passed away is an author and speaker by the name of Wayne Dyer. Wrote a lot of books. Your Erroneous Zones is probably the most famous of them all. And when I struggled in my youth, when I was searching for meaning, when I didn't know who the heck I was, him and his words saved me. They really did save me. And I used to jokingly call him the father that I did not have, because I had a bit of a strained relationship with my father growing up. I have an incredible relationship with him now. But yeah, Wayne Dyer really changed and impacted my life. And otherwise, alive, it's my partner, Melissa, who we are engaged and we have a house together and we share a life. And she just later in life, when maybe I had written off what was possible for myself and thought like, I'm in my 40s and this is it. And she helped me see things in myself that I was struggling to see, and helped me believe in myself in a way that I didn't believe was possible. And everything I'm doing now, the clients that I'm helping, the business that I'm growing, the impact that I'm having, none of it would exist if it wasn't for her.
Oh, okay. So the day after Valentine's Day, you're like, earning so much points right now.
I thought you were earning points. She would, if she came across this, she would be like, "Oh, why'd you say that?" Because she doesn't want any spotlight. But for me,
Okay,
it would feel so disingenuous if I didn't say it, because it's so true.
I understand. How did you guys meet?
We met online. We met through a dating app. But the funny thing is we met 10 years ago, dated for a few months, and didn't work out. We parted ways. And then a couple years later, we started talking again. And then 6 months of what we jokingly call fake dates, where we would hang out and do stuff together. And it kind of felt like
Mhm.
dating, but there was no like hand holding or kissing. And then
Yeah.
friendship became the foundation for an incredible relationship.
And how did you know that, or when, both actually, when and how did you know? Okay, so yeah, she's it. That's gonna be it for me.
I knew at the end of the first date, the first time we dated, and that's why that didn't last, because I was not ready for a relationship. I was looking for something a bit more casual. I was coming out of a relationship. At the time, she was not saying that she was looking for anything too serious either. And at the end of the first date, I was like, I think I said to her, "You weren't supposed to be like this." And by that, I meant you weren't supposed to be this amazing. We weren't meant to click this well. And
Oh,
yeah, so I'm not surprised that after we went our own ways, that we came back together and that we built something so incredible together.
connected when it was the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I find, and I don't want to sound like I'm cynical, because I really am not. But love isn't enough. There's a timing that's important, and you have to, when you want to be a part of what you're a part of. So a mature, like adult relationship, like real adult relationship, you need to deal with your crap first. And if you're in the middle of your crap, I mean, some will do that together and they can, but and I would have been with you. It's I have to do that stuff on my own. And so when you come together, it's even better.
That's you're right. And you said something else too, like love is not enough. There's dealing with your stuff. There's the maturity you mentioned, and then communication. Communication is the center of everything. And if you don't have the maturity to talk about what scares you, to to be able to talk through things when there's a fight without it having to be so aggressive, without finding common ground, without assuming that the other person maybe had good intentions even though you got upset, like it requires way more than love. And we jokingly, it started almost as a joke at first, but then it turned to a thing, is that we didn't call each other boyfriend or girlfriend, and even now, like fiance, we call each other care buddies. We see our primary roles is to be a care person for the other, and everything is built on top of that.
That's beautiful. It's
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't like that boyfriend girlfriend thing, and I don't like it more. And actually, I hate it more in French, like chum blonde. It means nothing to me. For me, it's more of a partner thing, a partnership thing. If you're not, if and more than likely, that's the one of the reasons I'm single, is I haven't found that partner, that person that wants to be a partner. Because for me, partnership is equals, and it's coming together, and you do you and I do me, and we come together, and we come together at the end of the day, and we come together. So and maybe I'm difficult. I don't know. I don't think that I'm difficult, but I until that person that can be truly my equal and view me as an equal, until that person enters my life, then there's just no point. Yeah, that's the way that
I have a feeling that you are on your journey to find that person, given that you recently, in like the last year, sounds like you really reconnected with the joy in your life and you're reconnecting with that. And in my mind, that's a stepping stone towards finding the relationship that you can have the joy and
Yeah.
fun with.
I don't know. We'll see. This show is not about me, and certainly not about that aspect of my life. But I I think that with the right partner, I could continue to feel the freedom. But for me, there's nothing more important than freedom in my life. So, and to this day, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But to this day, I haven't met the right partner that I can still feel free 100% inside of a committed monogamous relationship. So, but hey, from your lips to God's ears, I'm not opposed to it. So I know you very little. In reality, I know you very little. However, I know for a fact that you're an extremely passionate person. And I know you're going to have more than one answer when it comes to that. My next question, if you could narrow down to three, that'd be okay. The things that makes you tick, the things that you're about to do, and it's never, even if you have to wake up in the middle of the night, even if it's hard, like a true passion, what would it be, or what would they be? Because more than likely you have more than one.
Definitely have more than one. And if I think about my journey and having gone through different phases of my life, because my first career was in music, I was a music producer and DJ and owned a record label. And I would have said in the past that music was a passion. And I think in some form, one of them is still, it's creativity. Like I need to have some form of creative expression. In the past, it was through music. Sometimes it's through dance. Sometimes I channel it into the zany, funny ways that I express myself through posts or whatever, but some form of creativity, some form of creative energy. And then the deeper, more truer answers are my role as like we talked about relationships. So my role as a care buddy, my role as a papa, like my role with my children. Like I am really intentional and passionate about what it means to be a loving, caring, intentional dad. It really means so much to me. I think labels that we take on, like I'm a this, I'm a that, can be limiting, can be kind of dangerous because we can box ourselves in. But the I am a papa, like my role as a father, means a heck of a lot to me, and I'm passionate about it. And then the one that's maybe closest to what a typical answer might be is helping other people find the magic that's within them, helping other people connect to what's true and genuine, that make people feel more alive. That's the power of coaching. Like I do business mentorship. It involves a lot of coaching, and there's all sorts of things and tools and frameworks and blah blah blah. But at the core, it really, like, who the heck is the person and how are they showing up online? And you got to know who the heck you are, what lights you up, what excites you, what can you talk endlessly about without any preparation? What would you do if money was no object? And like put a light on those things and have that show up in the way you show up in your business. And then it's less about business and then all about the things that you had in your intro about connection and human connection and enjoying life. So helping people tap into that magic. If I didn't have to work, if $100 million lands in my account tomorrow, I'll still do that. I'll do that until I'm no longer able to talk and stand. Like I will do that till the day I die.
I think that's the real fiber of what entrepreneurship is about. Is we take what we're passionate about and we just somehow find a way to make money with it. And, I would say I corrected that because I think it sends the wrong message to the universe. I don't want to get into it, but I used to say I would pay to do my job. But, then I've actually heard, and if you'll allow me a second, I heard a story of a woman that used to say that here in she's a TV producer, and she loved her job so much that she would say that. She would come in the office and say, I'm so lucky to be here. I would pay to do this job. And so she kind of ended up creating that situation in her life where eventually she had to pay $250,000 to keep her company. So I changed the narrative just because I don't want to attract that to myself. But the premise is the same. I love it so much that even if I don't need the money, I'm going to continue doing it because it's not about the money, even though, of course, money is part of life and we're in business to make some, and we can't pretend it's not important. It is, but it's not about the money. It's about the connection and the people and the seeing the other human for who he is. I mean, this is why I created this show, because I just want to sit here and talk to people I love and introduce them to the world, to the part of the world that maybe they're not seeing right now because there are too many of us on this planet. There was a question in the audience a little when we were talking about love, and I'm looking for it. The question was, what are some tips to not think it's you when you break up? Like I'm guessing that you're not the problem.
But what if you are the problem?
Thank you, Rob.
I think, and look, and this is tough to answer without knowing all the details, but my automatically is like, well, what if you are? There's an old saying, and it's, if you run into one asshole in the morning, they're probably the asshole. If you keep running into assholes all day, you're
the
probably the asshole.
Yeah.
So, is this just a one-off breakup, or is this a string of breakups because you're later in life? And just being clear on being willing to look in the mirror and who you are. And, Isabel, you're talking about the universe and not wanting to get into the woo-ness of it, but you attract what you are and you attract who you are.
Yeah.
And if there's stuff that you haven't faced or processed or parts about you that you don't like, or if you hold any resentment or anger towards yourself, like all this shows up in relationships. So without getting into a proper conversation, my first answer to that is a question, but what if you are? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think, and I'm with you wholeheartedly. Like, we don't know anything about the situation. And perhaps this gentleman has been mistreated by somebody. And if that's the case, sorry to hear that. But after, you're always the common thread of every and any relationships you have, whether it's a romantic relationship or even a client, a relationship with a client. You are the common thread. So I would invite you to at least, not you, but the person that asked the question, to at least take a good look at what belonged to you and the fact that it didn't work. And that's it. I'm not a great love expert. I just wanted to point to the fact that question was.
Before we jump off that, I also want to say, like, the person asked the question, Thomas, I don't know them well. I know them like you through LinkedIn. I enjoy their stuff. We've DM'd a couple of times, and I think we're talking about me being on a podcast with you. So, Thomas, because this is so one way, like you type something and we can't interact, let's chat. Like, if you want to talk about it more, I would love to get into a fuller conversation about that if you wanted.
Mm-hmm. See how generous and kind he is. I told you guys from the start, that's the kind of people I roll with. There's something in actually, there's two things I want to talk about. You mentioned being passionate about the fact that you're a dad, and I can obviously see why, because you're a big heart. But what were some of the challenges that your kids are mirroring back to you? Speaking of relationships.
Ooh, it's fun. It's really fun to see lack of patience, frustration with how long it takes to create something that they're happy with. One of them is exuding traits that I had when I was younger that I've had to work through, that I feel like I've mostly worked through, but it's definitely not all gone yet. Is just like the being hard on self, the zero tolerance for bullshit, which is really funny from a teenager, because I'm like, well, I've raised you with having a zero tolerance for bullshit for 15 years, and I can't really be upset now that if you're reflecting it back towards me. So those are the things that come to mind immediately.
And what are you have two, right? Two kids?
I have two, yeah.
How old are they?
18 and 15.
Boy and girl.
Yeah.
In that order?
Girl is the eldest.
Okay. So what part of their mother you were struggling with, do you see in your kids that you are still struggling with?
Oh.
You think this was going to be a walk on the beach, don't you?
I did not. You know what? I am open and willing to talk about anything. And I've
that.
laid it out in my book. I was molested as a child. I've almost taken my life. I've struggled with alcohol. There's no things that I find are taboo for me, but I cannot get into this because their mom and
That's
I
fine.
aren't together. We
That's
split
fine.
up, and we have a super amicable, amazing relationship as co-parents, and the kids live 1 week here, 1 week there. And I have never thought about it. And I'm sure if I sit with it, I could give you a real answer, but it would be a disservice to everyone in my life if I tried to give that a real
let's
answer.
skip the question entirely, and that's 100%. Okay, so I'll switch the question. What's the best quality from their mother that you actually do see in them and that you enjoy? Would that be better?
That's a really wonderful question. Yes.
Okay, let's do that. No, I didn't mean to get you in trouble. And honestly, once the question was already out of my mouth, I went, ugh, okay. But hey, this is what we're doing, and I'm learning, you're learning. This is great.
Yes, I think a couple things. One is creativity. Their mom is a highly creative person who works in the creative field and has done all sorts of different art-related things in their life. And both of the kids have a high interest and ability to express themselves creatively. That's definitely there. And I think also, but at least with one of them, is just not getting mirrored and too caught up in things emotionally. I think sometimes emotions they're just like a meter on your dashboard. They're just giving you an indication, like, are you low on gas or are you going fast? That's it. That's not good or bad. And it's very easy to get caught up in thinking that, certain emotions are good or bad. And then you can get really all wound up in that.
Yes.
And their mom has a really great ability to not get too wound up emotionally. And in one of the kids, it's amazing to see. It's like, oh, wow, you got that thing from your mom, this ability to not get too emotionally wound up. Yeah.
It's great that you have a good still a partnership with their mother, because it makes parenting so much easier, right?
It's incredible. Well, it was intentional. When we split, there was a conversation at one point where it was like, hey, this didn't work for us, but we don't need to make this prison for the kids. Let's not make this hell. And to the point where, and I talk about this in my book, actually, the first Halloween after we split, and I went back to the old house and met with them to go trick-or-treating. And I was in a Speedo onesie of a tuxedo. And then I showed up, and then my ex was like, oh, I have an idea. And then she went missing in the back, and I didn't know what she was up to. And then she said something effective like, you're either going to love this or think I'm crazy. And she came out in her wedding dress covered in blood.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And then we went trick-or-treating together, and I was essentially in a tuxedo. She was in her old wedding dress covered in blood, and we were laughing and joking. And to the kids, to them, they were like, oh, wow, our parents are separate, but they have a joint costume. And to see the reaction of our old friends and neighbors, because some of them were like, that's incredible. You two are really setting an example of that divorce doesn't need to be at each other's throats, that it can be fun. And for a couple people, it was a little too much. They're like, this is, but it was amazing. It's just a really important moment for me to show that, you just because the relationship doesn't work out doesn't mean you need to make it hell for everyone, and you can have fun.
Yeah, there's no point for bitterness. I mean, you can cry and grieve and curse for a little while, but after that, it's a choice.
Yep.
Yeah, it really is a choice. Have you taught French to your kids?
Sont bilingues. Both of them are fluent. Both of them went to French schools. Both, like, we go to Montreal. They're fine. We went to Paris last year. They were chatting. They're fully bilingual, both of them.
And do they speak French to you?
Yes. Especially if they want something and they're trying to be influential with me. They know that if they talk in French, that they're buttering me up.
Oh, tu flattes dans le sens du poil. Oh my God, that's priceless. They're a smart cookie, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they're smart, of course.
You, I think it was several months ago that you had in one of your posts. It was about things that we didn't know about you, or that would be curious to know about you, and that you wrote down that you count in French, and
Mhm.
I cracked up because that's the only thing I will not do in English. I can't. My brain just doesn't go there.
I have no control over it. What's funny is
Yeah.
a bunch of people, they don't know or don't realize, or it hasn't come up that I speak French. They might think like he has a bit of a funky accent, but I think it's just because he's Canadian. And especially I'll be with some American clients on Zoom, or like in person. I'm at a thing in the US and we start talking about a future date. So I'm like, février, mars, avril. I'll switch and start doing the months in French, or I start counting, like I'm counting in French, and
Yeah.
people go, "What the hell's happening?" Like it happens a couple times a year. Someone's like, "What's going on right now? What are you doing? Why are you doing this?"
Oh, I don't know what happened.
You're
I
frozen for a second. We're back.
yeah, whatever. I think that my French accent comes out more than yours. But often they'll go, what's that language I'm hearing? Like they know that my mother tongue obviously is in English, and I'm not, because I still live in Quebec, and I still, like, if I go to the grocery store, it's in French. If I go to the tailoring, I go to the hairdresser, everything's in French still. So I'm not as immersed as you are. So yeah. But the the French uh, the French comes out real quick. For me, it's swear words.
Oh.
If I say the F word in English, it's like, yeah, okay. But if I say tab, nah, then you know I'm mad. And I get, yes, so
You go through the whole
I
three
get,
of them all at once.
I get from your laugh that it's the same thing for you, right?
Hey, sorry, before you go to the next thing, I think this would be funny to all the listeners, because people are listening right now, because, depending on where they are in the world and they don't speak French and they're maybe not as interested in the last couple of minutes, there's something funny I want to give everyone here. In the French-speaking province of Quebec in Canada, the government decided that using the word fuck on the radio is not offensive, and it is okay for them to air. You cannot say the word in Toronto, where I live, or anywhere else in Canada, because that's a big no-no, and then you'll get in shit. But in the French province of Quebec, because the word fuck is not really a swear word, they can say it all they want. But the words that Isabel and I just started to say, which are the Quebecois French words, you can't say those. Like, those are like anti-church, anti-Catholic words. That's like, those are offensive. But you can say the F word all you want on radio in Quebec. And it's wild. It's so funny.
Yeah. And when it comes to to that word, moi je le conjugue là. Wait, it's a full sentence. Yeah. I no, I'm not gonna share that. I'll share that offline.
Offline, yes.
Yeah, offline, because I don't want to offend anybody in the audience. My last question, and I was telling you this before we started the show, before we went live, that I've met so many great people on LinkedIn, you being one of them, every single Hounds member. And the common theme, or the thing that comes back so often in people, is they're either helping people find their purpose, or they are looking for their purpose, or they're looking to redefine themselves. So when I came up with the show, I do this for fun. This has nothing to do with my business. But I thought, okay, so the people who have found their purpose, they need to share how with the world, so that we have hints, or we drop hints on possible ways to look. So my question, my dear friend, is, have you found your life's purpose? And if so, how?
I do feel I found my life's purpose, and it is helping other people connect to their joy, their creativity, their belief that they can do more, and that they're meant to enjoy this ride and all of those wonderful things. And the way how is I just started looking at what were the common trends that I had in anywhere I've ever worked, anything I've ever done, any project I've been a part of, any business I've ever had, even when I was doing the music stuff. The music part of my life got messy because I got wound up in the drinking and the partying and the late nights and that unhealthy side of it. But when I look back at what I was doing when I was making and sharing music, people were coming together to feel carefree and to stop, let go of their worries about their relationships, their work, or whatever's going on. And it was like almost like a ceremonial release. And it's a role that I've played in any community I've been a part of. So yeah, just spending time and looking at the common threads is how I got to it. And I have a passionate, actually, if I was able to say 4 things earlier when you're asking about passions, I would have talked about communication. Because I really love communication. And it is, when we're talking about relationships earlier, like how you communicate, your ability to communicate, your ability to communicate with yourself and externally, critical. If I think about all the stuff I do in business, messaging stuff, it's all communication. You being able to explain to the world what you do, how it can help them, why they should care, and why you're the person. It's communication, sales, communication, like it's all communication. And it's just it's a constant thread. So I love words. I love understanding people. I love helping people understand themselves. And it's all in the language we use and how we use it. So and that's a common thread for me too. And I love it. I really do enjoy that aspect of it.
And you're good at it too.
Thank you.
And you just won, speaking of communication, you just won a big to-do for your communication skills. Tell us about that, would you?
Yes. All right. So let me tell you a little story to set it up. I think that if I
Yeah.
tell the story, it'd be more enjoyable. So there is, inside me, I've known that I am wanting to do, and I would maybe even say meant to do, but quietly, more speaking. But I was afraid of it. I was resistant. I've done a lot where I've grown audiences and impacted people and shared my message broadly, but not showing up on the broader stages yet, and for whatever reason, holding myself back. And there's a speaking competition based out of Toronto, and it's the largest inspirational speaking competition in North America. It's called Speaker Slam, and I went to a night in September, and the goal to go was to just go and listen, to go be inspired, to go hear other people's stories, to just go take it all in and enjoy the night. And I got there, and once I sat down and they started the night, they said, hey, we're passing around a bucket, and if you put your name in the bucket, you'll get 2 minutes on stage. We pull some names and you get to talk. And I heard that, and I immediately went like, oh, that sounds exciting and terribly scary. I want to do it, but I can't. So I thought about it, but did not. And then at the midway point, I started chatting with one of the judges, Tammy, who, speaking of LinkedIn, she's someone who I met on LinkedIn. We'd never met in person, but we met on LinkedIn. And she said, the weirdest thing happened today. I was like, what? She's like, your book fell off the shelf and fell to my feet. That's never happened before. I was like, oh, shit. That feels like a sign. So still, I was like, I still didn't put my name in the bucket. And then one of the co-founders was walking around being like, hey, did you put your name in the bucket? Put your name in the bucket. And then she looked at me, Rob, is your name in here? It could be. Oh, fuck. So I was like, all right, universe, I got it.
Okay, I got
the message. But as soon as I wrote my name and put it in, I knew there was 25, 30 names in there, and they only pull a handful. I was like, I know I'm going to end up on that stage. Yeah. So my name got pulled. My name was pulled second. I ended up on stage. It almost felt like an out-of-body experience. I don't know everything I said. Well, I know now because I've watched the video. I got the video footage, but at the time I was like, I didn't know everything I said, but I know that it came out passionately without any awkward pauses or filler words. Like it beamed out of me, and it was unbelievable. And that really flicked a switch in me. So then I put my name in to apply to officially compete. I was selected. I officially competed a few weeks ago, and I was one of the 3 winners at the end of the night. So now I have a chance to compete in the Grand Slam at the end of the year. So,
and where is it? In Toronto still?
It's in Toronto. It's at a bigger place. It's at the big CBC building. It's like a 500 or 600 seater room. Like it's a big auditorium.
That's fabulous.
Yes.
I'm glad you listened to the universe because the message was clear, but still you could have said, yeah, no, not today. and you listen to it. And that's so important because, I mean, come on, how many more signs did you could
Oh my
you have gotten?
It was like slapping me. It was like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we're gonna whip you into shape because obviously you're not. And it's what came in me, what rose in me when you were saying that is this quote I heard not too long ago and it's success is in the work you're avoiding. And so you are, I know that of you, and I don't know you that well, that you are meant to speak to the world and be more than likely because you're scared. And we all get scared. I mean, we pretend we don't, but we all do. And sometimes it's the cause of the fear is so rooted into who we are that we even convinced ourselves we're not actually scared. We just don't want to, but you were self-aware enough to say, no, I do want to, I'm called to do that, and I'm just scared. And I think that as soon as you open up that can, the universe is going to say, let's go, dude, I'm going to whip you into that shape. Oh, that's lovely. It's a great story. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you for
guys in the audience, there's a lot of people I don't know commenting. Please come connect with me. I love everybody. I want to get to know everybody. And if you're Rob's friend, then you can be my friend. Thank you, Monica. And I saw Carrie too. And
Hey, Monica,
yeah,
hey, Carrie.
come out. Connect with me, would you please? I always end my show unless there's anything else you feel like sharing with us. If so, please do so now.
I think I want to tie back to what you just said as far as the difference between being afraid and not wanting to do it. And that anyone listening, to question your fears, to shine a light on your fears. And the fear is one of those things that loves the dark, festers in the dark, grows in the dark. And I think about when I was a kid and I was afraid of the monster under my bed, and to the point where I'd be afraid to go get a book off my shelf or afraid to go to the toilet in the middle of the night. And my mom would come and put a big bright light under my bed, and I'd look and I'd see that there's nothing there. So just anything that you feel any resistance around, any hesitation around, to spend time, sit with it, look at it, question it. Is that really what it is? And we normally make things way bigger and scarier and intimidating between our ears than they actually are. And then if you do that, then you'll be able to start taking the small steps towards that thing that you know that you want to do.
Yeah. It's beautifully said. And if you'll allow me to add one thing, it really doesn't need a lot of light for darkness to dissipate. It needs the light of one match, and that's enough. So you don't. I mean, if you're afraid to look under the bed, you don't need the big, spotlight. You just a little bit of light, and it changes the entire perspective. I love that. Thank you for that, Rob. That was very beautiful. So I always end the show with the same way, and it's not an obligation, but I offer the opportunity for my guests to ask me anything they want. Do you have a question for me, Rob?
$100 million lands in your bank account tomorrow, and there is only one criteria. That criteria is that you have to do some kind of work. It can be anything. What are you doing?
Would that work? I don't know exactly how, but it would have to involve helping someone. I am not attached. It's not that I haven't found it. I am not attached on the how, but I'm helping people and serving people and showing other people how great they are, because we need that. We all need it. We're all broken. We all have a story that can break your heart. And I think that humans are designed that way, that you need someone else's light to see how great you really are. And I am blessed and privileged in my life because I have that and I have always had that. People telling me how fabulous and how this and that and thanking me for things that I was no big deal for me. I mean, I did it because if I if I have no reason to say no, then I'll say yes. So if I can help somebody, I will. And honestly, it's almost a selfish act. If I really, really want to be honest, it's a selfish act because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel useful and that I have a purpose and that I'm good at something and that I can. So, why would, like, I'm addicted to that feeling, right? I have become, I wasn't always, but I have become good at setting boundaries because I need to put my oxygen mask on first. But yeah, it would be helping anybody. And I recently said that to Mike that you read backstage. That's writing. That's writing. That's running the back end of my show. That he does it freely every week, even though he doesn't have time. Thank you, honey. Um, I honestly want to make enough money so I can pay his mortgage.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my goal, and I'm gonna succeed. I know that's my goal. So, and I know I'm gonna succeed. So that's it.
Oh, I love it. That's great. What a
It
wonderful.
was a great question.
Thank you for answering.
Oh, you're welcome. Any last word, and where can we connect with you?
LinkedIn is my main online hang. I also moonlight a little bit on Instagram if you like to hang out there. I go through spurts where I share a lot on my stories there, and they're just more just random thoughts and kind of what's going on. If you want to dive into my world a bit deeper, growthhabit.org. There's a bunch of stuff there, free training. I put out a weekly newsletter where I try and give a lot of insights, strategies, and just share as I continue to learn and grow, because I also still have no idea what I'm doing and learning a bit more every day.
And from a subscriber of his weekly newsletter, yeah, go subscribe to it because it is easy to read. It comes in on Saturday morning. It's easy to read. It's informative. It's fun. It's funny. Yeah, and it's light. I mean, it's not this is how you should do this. So yeah, you should totally go subscribe. Go connect with Rob if you're not already connected. And guys, next week is a great guest too. Anyway, yeah, it's Jackie, our friends from the Hounds, and I can't wait to have her on. She's great. Mike, thank you so much for hosting, for helping me run the back end. Rob, appreciate you. I have a bigger crush than I did before the show started, so I'm in trouble now. And everybody that was in the comment section, thank you. I don't reply live just because I want to concentrate on the conversation, but I'm going to go answer and connect with all of you now. I appreciate you both. Thank you. Have a great week. Bye, Rob.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for
everyone.
coming.
Take care, everyone.